Hey, I got another flyer if you want to look at it freely or keep it. Doesn't matter. That's the identical one. I'm on flyer. What's up, Rustin? Hey, you're a smart guy. I got a question for you. I got this. Okay, if a building falls at free fall speed, Newton's second law, correct? No building should fall with zero resistance. Free fall speed would indicate that there's zero resistance, right? So Twin Towers fell under 10 seconds. That's free fall speed. So other than a controlled demolition, how can you displace 80,000 tons of structural steel?
Dude, you're a mathematician.
They fell in under 10 seconds, which is free fall speed. And building 7 was another skyscraper, fell in 6.5 seconds, 47 stories high. So that's a large period of free fall speed. So you're
saying. I was watching it on TV when it happened.
So if a building collapses in under 10 seconds, like Tower 1 and 2 did, a whole building collapsed from the impact, a whole building collapsed. Down to nothing. It was 10 seconds. Look at, I've seen it too. No, when it collapses. When it started collapsing. The actual collapse. Yeah. When it started collapsing to when it was collapsed, it was under 10 seconds.
So what you're saying is, the building itself, if it were falling on its own due to its height and it's accelerating at 9.6 whatever meters per second squared, you're saying that it should have fell for a longer period of time than it did.
At a much slower speed.
Okay. Now, you're saying that there may have been explosions within the tower to make it fall faster. Correct?
Lots of explosions. So I have to displace myself.
Why would you not say it was on fire?
Jet fuel's kerosene. It doesn't burn near hot enough to melt or weaken steel. It's kerosene.
But there's parts of the building that are flammable.
Yeah, it's fireproof steel. The only steel that was blown off was at the impact. It blew off all the fireproof. To insinuate that kerosene weakens steel enough to collapse is loose.
Say that there were explosions.
Hundreds of there's a website on that, AE9 Truth. 980 plus architects concur. They all concur. They found partially reacted thermitic material in the dust. Now, nanothermite is a high-grade military explosive. How did nanothermite get in the dust of the debris at North Tower, South Tower, and 7?
It could have been in the airplane that struck the tower.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm indicating that it would have to be. Well, thermite can be sprayed on or painted on beams, and when added with fire, it burns. It melts steel like a knife through butter. So, like if a desk fell, right through steel beams. It's not something like terrorists in a cave with box cutters could produce. It's really high grade stuff.
So you're thinking it was pre-planted before, and that was the ignition. That's interesting.
Because, like, to say,
I never thought about it that way.
Like, the TV says conspiracy theory is crazy, but the original theory that people are believing is that 2 jetliners knocked down 3 skyscrapers. Flight 77 and Flight 93 crashed, leaving no wreckage, no identifiable wreckage for the first time in aviation history. They haven't positively identified any parts of those airplanes, the one that landed in Shanksville and the Pentagon. No, that's the first time in aviation history. They found passports from the hijackers in the planes that hit the Twin Towers on the sidewalk. A flammable material known as paper was found on the sidewalk. They found a pristine red bandana from one of the hijackers in Shanksville, but they didn't find any of the indestructible black boxes from the airplane.
So
that's the conspiracy theory.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
What's the whole idea then? If they get the truth, then what's that going to do? That the terrorists actually did more than what they should have done?
No, it's going to prosecute those responsible criminal elements of the United States government. There needs to be a new investigation simply because there's so many abnormalities and illogical. 16-foot impact hole at the Pentagon, 144-foot jet. No footage ever released of Flight 77.
I actually rode a bus right next to the Pentagon 2 months after that plane formed into it. And I've got pictures of it. I don't know.
Before the roof collapsed, there was a 16-foot circular hole in the Pentagon. And And that's where Flight 77 allegedly hit.
Why are we putting energy into something that we already know these guys are guilty? Why are we going to do more? I mean, what is...
Osama bin Laden is not on the FBI's most wanted website for 9/11 because the FBI's chief executive director, Rex Coons, says they have zero hard evidence linking him to the attacks. Mohammed Atta was trained at the United States military flight school. This is declassified.
So
This is
saying
a
he
fact.
acted on his own?
No, I'm saying that he rented an apartment and cars from a CIA agent.
Oh, you're saying it was from us? This has happened.
It's called a false flag attack. It's happened before. Gulf of Tonkin, declassified false flag attack. Staged, United States government. The government did it. I just think that they were under fire for racism claims, and they thought that what a better thing to get Democratic Congress's side than to white Christian ranch gun toters, even though they had no evidence that they were illegally purchasing guns, and they machine gunned women and children.
But where do you get all your facts? That's my first thing. Are they reliable?
Yeah, I just told you from 990
reliable?
plus architects and engineers.
But who tells you
Stephen
that?
Jones, physicist from
Who
BYU.
tells you that?
Richard Gage,
But
AIA.
who's writing this? I mean, I always worry about facts.
Peer-reviewed
Are they-
papers. There's a peer-reviewed paper on the National tonight,
Are
and
they
it's got.
reliable?
But who are the peers that review?
That's the thing. I could say
They
anything
all have
about
their
anything,
PhDs.
but I could say anything about anybody. You see what I'm saying?
And
Who's telling me that? I need to have the fact that who's telling me there's 100 PhDs are reviewing it? Is that
these
reliable?
PhDs themselves signed on to the report.
So if I contact those PhDs, I would
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
what I would make sure is
You could.
So I wouldn't trust if someone says, well, there's 100
Or you can look up the report, and you can actually you could go to the website.
Geometry, get in your seats, please.
They would confirm that.
It's a view that I've never really thought about.
It's a big view. I was in New York this year on 9/11. Over 9,000 people just marching for, and a lot of them taking family members.
You have class right now?
Yeah, Cynthia McKinney from the Green Party ran for president. Chuck Baldwin from the Constitution Party. Both 9/11 truthers.
Robert.
A second. Probably.